specific GPA, but once again, they saw that I had completely transformed as a student, and they were willing to work with me for that. So even because I didn't have the cumulative GPA at that time when I was applying technically to get the IDS major, but they were willing to talk to me and work it out, and I was able to actually raise it by the end of 2 semesters to the GPA that I needed. So yeah, so GPA, you can fix it. Good job.
I would definitely just echo off of that and say that a couple of bad, like 1 or 2 bad semesters is not going to put you out for the rest of your academic career. It might look like you're not going to get to really great med school, great law school, anything like that, but you definitely still have a chance to get to do well in school here, but then move on and do well at other places. I personally, because I've failed a couple of different classes here at college, I'm hovering just below 3. And so it's one of those things where you can look at it in a bad way and say, oh, I'm below 3, like I'm never gonna amount to anything in life. We can also put a positive spin on it and say, you know what, like I still I'm getting through here, I'm getting a degree, and so it's important to move on and make sure that you are also just keeping positive too. That's my little thing on GPA.
Hi. So if any of you are in like bio 10 whatever or like Chem 107, you'll notice that there are about like 100 million people that want to be doctors. And as you go on, those people get less and less. Like my intro classes had like 40 something people who all wanted to go into medicine, and there are 8 of us that actually ended up applying. So if you really see yourself going into a professional career and say that career is medicine or law or whatever, and you're failing, Chem 107 or Poli Sci 101, really take a minute to think about if that's the best route for you to go, because the unfortunate reality of applying to schools like medical school, law school, grad school, they want you to have the GPA. It's really, really scary when you know that you're up against, like, for example, some of the schools that I applied to for medical school, they get 12,000 applicants. You're up against 12,000 people who have like a 3.7 or above. That's terrifying, but what you need to do is just make sure that if that's the route you see yourself going, make sure that you're committed to that, because in the long run, spending 4 years maybe not going out one night when your friends are going out, but studying for the test you had on Monday, is that one day of your life going to be like the be-all and end-all of your existence? Probably not. But is getting into medical school versus, I saw that kid in the green shirt saying that, that one night was the be-all and end-all. I know, you're awesome. It's okay, I feel your pain. I had points, remember? I'm cool. Yeah, but in like the grand scheme of things, sacrificing a little bit for achieving something bigger in the long run, it's really going to be worth it. So if you're worried about your GPA, you're worried about being able to get into the type of schools or programs that you want to get into, I would say just fully dedicate yourself to school while you can, because college offers you a lot of things, but you don't pay $50,000 to get drunk. Let's be honest. Maybe you do. Sorry.
I'm going to echo what Maddie said. I found I didn't really worry too much about my GPA my freshman and sophomore year, but luckily enough, like the kind of student I am, I kept it at a good place. And so then later when I went abroad, I knew maybe I didn't want to be focusing on my academic classes as much as I wanted to be traveling and experiencing the culture and things like that. So I knew I had that cushion my junior year when I knew my freshman and sophomore year had done really well with my GPA. So I would say definitely, like Olivia said, like if you want to get into grad school, into med school, law school, etc., that your GPA is something that they're going to look at. And there are places where they'll go through applicants, and if you don't have the GPA they're looking for, they don't even know your name. So that's something to think about. But what I think is important too, like Maddie said, is like to focus on it now, where you have the time and you have the resources to really bump it up, so that when you get into your higher classes, your junior and senior year, or if you go abroad, you have some leeway to kind of let yourself chill out a little bit. So that's my advice.
The next question I want to ask may not be quite as exciting, but it's something that you hear a lot here, that Gettysburg is a liberal arts college, right? And I'm curious for the panelists to talk about their experience with the liberal arts. What does it really mean to you, or what's an example of how you have lived the liberal arts experience?
So I guess as far as with an IDS, liberal arts really kind of focuses on that too, as far as being able to do and pursue whatever you'd like. And even if you want to go on to things like we were just talking about grad school, med school, you don't have to major necessarily in what you want to pursue later on. So with art therapy, I came here freshman year, undecided, but kind of set on art ed, and I remember telling a girl I just met freshman year, because I'm trying to find friends, she asked me what I wanted to do, and I said art education. She asked me, well, why are you here then? And it kind of just turned me away, but I realized that with a liberal arts education, you really can pursue anything, and even though art ed didn't work out for me, you can still find something else to do, maybe revolving around your interests, and with the core curriculum and taking the different classes, that'll help you find out what you're interested in as well.
Yeah, kind of to bounce off that too, the IDS is combining different disciplines of interest, and that's kind of what liberal arts is all about, is being well-rounded, discovering courses that you never would have taken otherwise. Like I already said, one of my favorite teachers that I had here was in a course that I would not have taken except that it covered 3 requirements. So I had a great time in that class, and that definitely was given to me because of the liberal arts component of this college. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
I would definitely agree that it really gives you a well-rounded education. Really, you get to try your hand at a lot of different things you probably would not normally try if you were at a school where you're trying to specialize in something. I think it's, you really can try anything. You're really going to be like ready for anything when you get out of here. I have a story actually. I just met a guy while I've been working with the Adams County Democratic Committee. He was actually a philosophy major in college, he told me, but he ended up being the manager of a healthcare provider and corporation. He went from philosophy to running a business basically. So you can really do anything you want to when you get out here with liberal arts education, because people are going to see that you went to a liberal arts school and you really have the skills to do pretty much anything, and you can be well-rounded like that. So just remember, you really can do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with everything that's already been said, but I think the really cool thing about a liberal arts education is that you're not just, going to a big university and taking your gen ed requirements in addition to your major, like, oh my god, my stupid English class. We really have some cool courses here in that they aren't just English classes or they aren't just art classes, they really are kind of interdisciplinary in that way. And you will see as you go through your 4 years, you really are able to integrate those together. So for me, kind of the culmination of my 4 years, probably what's going to be one of the most exciting things for me. Next semester, I'm doing an independent study in the health science department. I'm going to be looking at the experience of migrant women in Gettysburg and their access to healthcare. So for me, a biochem major going into med school, Latin American studies minor, how did I get to be, with all those different things? How does that fit? So coming to a liberal arts school was actually giving me the tools to kind of put that all together in a really cool way, and that's going to be something that people who went to a big public school or went to a school where they're able to specialize in something and nothing else, they're not going to have that kind of experience. So for me, coming to a school like Gettysburg has been really, really important and really valuable.
Yeah, again, I would second everything that everyone said. I think what's really cool about the liberal arts school is they're really teaching us here how to think critically and how to be a decent human being and a citizen of the world, which I think is really neat. And also, I'm someone who I'm interested in a million different things. So to be able to come here and take classes in every department on campus is really cool. And when I think about, I have friends, of course, who are bigger state universities or other trade schools. And when I think about the schools, I think about a little bit like train tracks. I'm kind of a visual person, so when I think about Gettysburg, I think about a nice grassy field where you can run around and I don't know, pick things that you enjoy. But also, yeah, I think the really teaching you how to critically think, because they tell you, take all these classes in all these different departments, but then how do you fit them together? How do they interconnect? Why are they important? When you think about them with each other. So I think the critical thinking piece of a liberal arts education is really, really important. Teaching you how to be a good person once you leave here.
Great, we're almost done. I've got one more question and then a few announcements that I want to make. So your patience and your attention for just a few more minutes is greatly appreciated. The last question that I want the panelists to answer, if you could give your first year self one piece of advice, go back in time, think about that person who you were in your first year, what would that advice be?
I guess an important one for me was to always wear shoes outside of your dorm room, because you don't know when you'll lock yourself out at 5:30 a.m. and have to walk in a few inches of snow to DPS. So I learned that the hard way. But I guess a big piece of advice would be to just not to be afraid to use your resources, and I know a couple of people talked about this already, but not being afraid to go and talk to professors or going to the hour with the PLA, the hour session. Even if you understand things, they'll still help you maybe with studying tips, learning how to see things in a different way. Just kind of look for the extra help if you need it.
I would tell freshman year Pam to do your homework. I've already said that like 100 times, but yeah, that, and don't be so proud as to not ask for help, because there are other people out there and this college is so giving. Your teachers want to talk to you. They have office hours. They would love for people to walk in there because there's no one there half the time, and they would love to talk to you. Also, don't be afraid to pursue what you actually want to pursue, because I knew I loved film when I came into college. I knew that, but I didn't want to pursue it because I didn't want people not to take me seriously. But I found out that, one, I didn't care. Two, I found some place where I flourish, some place where I feel at home, and I have supportive advisors. So definitely take risks in what you take in, for courses, and then see where that takes you. So, yeah.
I would just echo off that and definitely say, again, always use your resources. That is my, just because. So definitely always use your resources. Definitely go to your advisors and academic advisors and counseling, because these are the people, they really do want to help you. They want to make sure you succeed while you're here. But also, the one thing that I really didn't do freshman year, I kind of did this more sophomore year, but definitely step outside your comfort zone and definitely get out, and not only academically, but also socially, but also just in different clubs and that kind of thing. Make sure you're stepping outside your comfort zone and getting involved in something that you probably would never ever think about doing, just because you can, because there's so many different opportunities here.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. A piece of advice that one of my teachers gave me in high school before I graduated was that college is the only time to be selfish, and I didn't really know what that meant. I kind of associated that with other pieces of advice that my history professor gave, or not professor, we don't call him that in high school, my history teacher gave me, was that he majored in beer, and I was like, oh yeah, college is cool. But college is really the time, it's really the only time in your life where you're not going to be responsible for anybody but yourself. You're going to leave college and you're going to have to, you know, be responsible to your job or your professional career or maybe a family. So while you have this kind of weird 4 in-between years, just do stuff that you're not going to ever get to do again. Have those once-in-a-lifetime experiences now. Because when you're 30 and you have to like find somebody to watch your kid and like you can't really get drunk or anything, like that's not going to be the time where you want to like go to like this crazy party. Like, I don't know. Just like do things that you're never going to have a chance to do again. You know, go on the immersion projects that CPS offers. Go push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Just do what you can now, because you're not really going to have this time again. And I'm a senior, and this makes me really sad, so.
I know you're antsy probably, but I'll be quick. So I guess if I could tell freshman year me anything, it would be chill out. I was like that kid who, didn't want to like, I was like studying all day and then I'd go to my clubs. Like I did things on campus, but when kids were like, yeah, let's go out, or like, let's go like have dinner off campus, I'd be like, I don't know about that. And so I would just say like, take deep breaths, like chill out, enjoy while you're here. Like, of course you're paying here to get an education, of course, but like you said, you're also coming here to be a little bit selfish. So chill out, take deep breaths, meditate, you know.
Fantastic. Can I have a quick round of applause for this amazing panel? They have really been great, and I hope that you take something from this presentation tonight and walk away with it that it impacts you this year. Before you leave, we have one more poll to do. This is just one to give us some feedback on what you